All right, just want to welcome everybody to the Pre-Apprenticeship program for the school year. As you guys can see, my name is Kurt Geisinger. I'll be your sort of your online instructor this year. You can see my contact info here on the screen. Feel free to reach out to me by email. That's probably the best way if it's not terribly time sensitive. My phone number's here as well if you need to call or text or whatever. I just want to try to be available to you guys. The point of this video, just a real brief intro of myself, but more than anything is I really want to introduce you guys to our learning management system. But here you're looking at or what we call the LMS, right? The learning management system. So right off the bat, you guys have already clicked on this video. If you're watching this, you've already clicked this link. And I'm just going to go through some of the features, the important things to get you guys on your feet and off and running for this course. So right down here, you're going to see class news and announcements. There is not any yet, but if there were, you could click on this and see a list of any announcements that I have made. If I do make an announcement, you will get an email alerting you to the announcement as well. So it's not like you have to remember to check this section. We have a syllabus first semester, syllabus second semester. We won't pay too much mind to the second semester yet since that's in the future. But if we click there, we can go to the link here. It'll bring up our syllabus, just a little PDF. And what I've done this year is sort of broken down each lesson into 1 week. It actually worked out pretty conveniently that each, roughly the number of weeks in the school year is roughly the number of lessons. So you can see for this first week here, and we're, I think, starting kind of late, September 5th. So if you guys are looking at this way before September 5th, I encourage you to get a head start here. But you can see the week of September 5th through September 9th, we should be working on lesson 101. I'll explain exactly what that means here in a minute. But you may look at this and say, well, we don't have school on some of these dates. Well, that brings us to our next point. This syllabus is loose, right? It's not meant to be any hard deadlines. No content in this course works off of a deadline. It's meant to be self-paced. We have several school districts. Every district has a different schedule. So we really tried our best to make this flexible and fit everybody's schedule. So what we've done here is we have, again, this sort of flexible schedule. So if you get to September 9th and you're not done 101, there's no penalty, right? Or the flip side, hopefully you can get that done before September 9th. And then the last item up here in the main section is what I'm calling an online classroom. What that is actually just it's sort of like a Zoom meeting. It's just a video chat sessions, and that's really just a placeholder up there. If anybody needs some help or we need to get together, discuss anything, that's a place where myself and multiple students can get online and have a literal online classroom. So this is nothing you need to worry about for now. If it is, you'll be instructed to visit that at a certain time. So next thing I think I'd like to touch on here is the course textbooks. You should have received several textbooks. If you haven't already received them from your school, please either yourself or have your school get in touch with me and I'll see that that happens. But you should have received several textbooks, the first of which is going to look like this. It's called the Student Manual. You're going to have a book that's almost identical to it, but that one's called the Student Workbook. So you're going to have two books that look a lot like this. A lot of our course content actually comes from the Student Manual. I'll address the workbook in a moment. But the other part of our course content actually comes from this book, what's called Electrical Wiring Residential, or you'll hear me call it a lot, the EWR. So this book combined with this book is where our course content actually comes from. You're going to be reading the chapters in this book to learn about the content of our course. And then the last very important book, not exactly a textbook, is going to be, and yours might look a little different, obviously this is a digital copy, National Electrical Code 2020. Almost everything that's in those first two books comes from this National Electrical Code book. So again, these are sort of your three main books. You go back to our course here. If we scroll down the LMS page, you're going to see These are all basically headings, right? And you can see if we click on one, it opens up and there's content or items within the heading, right? Then we do have some books and resources. We do have audio books of both of those books I just described to you. I don't know if that's something you guys are into, but it's a free resource. If you're not one to sit and read, you can actually listen to the books as well. And then here's a link to the 2020 National Electrical Code that actually takes you to this. This is literally an online code book. This is almost primarily what I use as I'm looking through the code book, because I'm always on a computer in one way, shape, or form. So that's just a link to that. And then EWR plans. There is a set of blueprints that are in the back of your EWR book that will be referenced throughout the year. This is just a digital copy of those plans for your convenience. Again, I'm a really big digital guy. I like to see everything digitally on a computer. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you do, there's that option. And as we go through the year, if we find more resources we want to add, I'll add them under this section. But now back down to the real important stuff here. That would be our actual lessons here, right? So if we click on any of these lessons, it's going to open up and show us the content within that lesson. I'm going to choose 103 here because it is more of a typical lesson. First of all, you can see I've put the dates from the syllabus right here. So there's no excuse for you guys to not know where you should be at any given time, right? So if we click on this and open it up, you're going to see there's a whole bunch of stuff within that lesson, okay? Right off the bat, I really like this. We have the IEC manual web book. So that takes us a link right to that chapter in the web book. So you guys don't even really have to open up that book. Here it is, right? That's this book right here, right? But it takes us right to that chapter. We can actually read through that textbook right on our device, right? So I think that's a really nice feature they've added there for us. Again, I'm going to click on this link and go back. So first of all, web book, here's the audio book as well. Now this green section is really important. That's basically just a to-do list of everything you guys are responsible for doing as a part of this lesson. So you can see in this lesson, we have a couple things to read. We have to read lesson 103. When they say read lesson 103, they mean read lesson 103 out of this book. Okay, that's the IEC manual, read lesson 103. In this case, we don't always have this, but in this case, we have read a chapter from the EWR book as well. In this case, we're going to read chapter 1 in the EWR book. Again, we don't always have a chapter from EWR, but in this case, in this lesson, we do. Then we sort of have this next section, which is a list of worksheets that must be completed, right? 103 reading worksheet, 101.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those worksheets that are listed right here are the worksheets from your student workbook that I mentioned earlier. Now, you could do those lessons in that workbook, that's fine. However, as we scroll down here, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit, we'll come back. Here are all those worksheets online. You all must complete those worksheets online, right? And here they all are. You can see reading worksheet, .1, .2, .3, .4, .5. So in this to-do list, it's referencing you to these worksheets, right? And we'll come back to those here in a minute. But as we go back, you're going to see they have objectives. That's just some reference for you guys. This light blue section, instructor uploads, I try to upload something, some kind of content for each chapter. It's almost always going to be a video similar to this of me explaining some type of content in the chapter. I try to keep them brief. I don't want to take up too much time. But in this case, it's a video about the National Electrical Code. I highly recommend you guys take some time to watch those. If I made the time to make the video on it, to me, that's important. You're going to see it on tests, on quizzes. I highly suggest you take the time to watch those. This next section, the red section, is review. This is all just extra content. I'm not going to know if you guys even click on any of this review content. This is simply a tool for you guys to review. Use it if you wish. Again, I won't even know whether or not you access these items here. But again, as I said, your worksheets, these are very important. You must do these worksheets for every lesson. That is your required work. These worksheets are categorized as homework in our grade sheet. Obviously, I don't know where and when you do them. But I do want to mention these worksheets we consider sort of the effort portion of our course. You have 2 attempts at each of these worksheets here. and we keep the highest grade, right? So there really shouldn't be an excuse to sort of flounder on these homeworks. You do have 2 attempts. You can almost look at the first one as a practice. Maybe that second one is kind of the game day attempt. Then as we get down here, we have this comprehension quiz, as it's called. What this is a 10-question quiz of what I think are sort of the most important ideas from the chapter. That makes up what is known as your quiz grade for the lesson. Again, they're all 10 questions. It's meant to be fairly short. Most of the questions you're probably going to see a lot of duplicates from these worksheets. So if you've done these worksheets and put in the time, these comprehension quizzes are probably going to feel a little bit easier, right? A few other items to note here as well before we wrap this up. Up at the top of the screen here, we do have your grade book. And the grade book can look a little bit daunting at first, but our grades are basically broken up into 4 categories. We have what we call homework, which is all the worksheets. We have the quizzes, which is your comprehension quizzes. We have a midterm exam. We have a final exam. That's 1 semester. And then we do it all again for 2nd semester. So your homeworks represent 25% of your semester grade. Your quizzes represent 25% of your semester grade. Your midterm exam is 25%. Your final exam is 25%. Then we average all those together for your semester grade. Then we do it again for 2nd semester, same thing. Then we average both semesters together to get your year grade. So as we look at the grade book, you can see you've got, this is kind of nested. Again, it's a little confusing to sort of look at, but we have your overall grade. Here's your 1st semester grade. Within 1st semester, we have your homeworks. And you can see there's quite a lot of worksheets. Don't panic. None of them are terribly long. Again, that's your effort portion in my mind, right? So then you get a homework grade. Then we have a quizzes category. Here's your quizzes. Then we get a quizzes category grade. You got a midterm. In this case, your midterm is broken up into 3 parts. I actually create the midterm. Then we get into the final. Your final, I do want to say, is created by IEC National, right? So that's actually not yet available. Everything in this course is available to you except for your final exams. They're not out yet, so you can't actually take the final, which is why you don't see any assignment applied here yet. So your final exam then would be here. Then you're going to have your 1st semester total. And then we sort of repeat the whole thing again. Homeworks, quizzes, midterms, final again is not quite ready. You can see I've got a placeholder in this case. And then we have your 2nd semester total. Then you have your overall total. That's how we get your entire year. The other thing I want to show you guys before we wrap this up, I said I'd show you another way to contact me. If you go to this participants tab, you'll actually see everybody in our class. Right now, nobody's registered yet. But you'll see right here who has been involved. We see Marissa Bankert. She's actually our executive director. We see Christy Wickard. She's our apprenticeship coordinator. Then you're going to see I'm actually in here twice. This is my my teacher account, my instructor account. This is the student account, as the name says. That's really here for purposes of making this video and demonstrating this from the student point of view. If you accidentally get a hold of this guy, it goes to the same place as this one, so not a big deal. But my point in showing you this, we can go to this participants tab, find whoever we need to communicate with, probably going to be me in almost all cases. You can sort of see my full profile here. It's got my email address. But more importantly, what I want to show you is this message section here. You can actually click this and send me a message, kind of like a chat. I'll actually get an email alert that you've sent me a message. This is not actually a live message, so to speak. But you can see these are my previous messages from back in January. This is, my instructor account communicating with my student account here. But you'll see it keeps a log of all your messages. But if you need to get a hold of me, this is another great way, aside from emailing me, this is another great way to reach out to me. So, as I said, as we wrap this up, my name's Kurt Geisinger. My email, my phone number, you've got the messaging app. Great ways to get a hold of me. Don't hesitate if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I love to hear from everybody. So let's jump into this year. Good luck, everyone, and hope we all do well.